Okay guys, Maximum here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about what makes a game successful and what makes them suck ass. Now I talked about this a little bit in my last video about video games, what they are, the theory behind them, but I'm going to go a little more into depth here about what makes them successful, in particular, like the ideas behind it. Games really need two main components, and depending on how you use those components is how good your game will be. The first component is action. Action is a universal theme that every game needs. Obviously, you don't want a game where you just stand there, but like I said before, it's how you go about making that action that matters. Action, the way we'll be using it, means anything the players can do, anything they control on their screen. Walking, jumping, dancing. Now, action can be anything. Literally anything. As soon as you have action, you have a game. In its most basic form. Even if that action is just able to move around in a box or something, it still is a video game in its most basic form. What makes good action is a bit more complex though. Action has to interest people. Nobody wants to walk around in a box. That's retarded. People want excitement, adventure, control. I think that's why people, especially teenagers, turn to video games. Teenagers have boring, seemingly useless lives where they go to school, come home, eat, sleep, then do it again. They just about get no choices. I know how it goes. I've been there. I am there right now. I'll get into all that a little later. But anyways, the action needs to have something to interest people. Everything about our lives can be traced through our evolution. We have a desire to fuck, because naturally our evolution has created us this way. Natural selection and all that stuff from like Mendel or whoever made natural selection laws. We can only survive if we reproduce. Our species would not exist. Without that desire, the human race wouldn't exist. In modern society, we don't really need to always be doing this. But when humans were just smarter versions of monkeys with nothing but sticks against disease and wild animals in a dark jungle, our lifestyle had very different needs, and our evolution just hasn't caught up with the changes of modern life. Humans were like flies. Be born, have kids, then die. Obviously, humans had a lot longer to live for than flies, but the average age back then would be from like 20 to 25. 30 was old. You were an old man when you turned 30. You were at your peak at 15 or 16. 15 and 16 was the time you had kids. Started fending for yourself, getting food, and having like actual life responsibilities. These days, hormones are the marks that remain of that. Teenagers are more violent, more horny, stronger, faster, just all around more physically able. That's why teenagers are so attracted to video games, because they provide an outlet for all those needs trapped inside of them. They don't want to be locked away in a high school. They want to be out hunting with a stick or some shit like that. But you can't do that anymore, so they turn to video games. I think that's why the FPS genre is so popular, because it hits all those needs right on the dot. If your target age group is teens or young adults, my advice would be to implement something that appeals to them. Their brains. That's what Call of Duty's been doing. That's what Battlefield's been doing. That's their key marketing strategy. Appealing to the brain. You need something to entice them right from the get-go. Right when they see your trailer, they say, I want that. That's what I want in my life, so that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to buy your damn game. You figure out how to implement that yourself. I'll leave all the creativity up to you. I'll supply you with the ideas. You do all the creative and innovative shit like that. If I knew, I would make it myself, but I don't because I'm retarded. But you guys, I know you can do it. I have faith. Not really, but whatever. Fuck it. The second major component a game needs is a goal. A major goal. Now, some people might get the wrong idea here and think that in like an FPS game, for instance, the goal is to kill people. It's true that it helps to achieve your main goal, but that's not the goal. Because using that logic, you can break any goal into smaller goals, and smaller goals. So try and find the biggest goal at the top of the hierarchy. The goal of Candy Crush is not to crush candy, it's to progress through the game, get to higher levels. That's the goal. Crushing candy is just a step along the way. The biggest goal in some games might be to beat that final villain, or level up your character. Once again, use your imagination and creativity. I can't do it for you. But a game with no goal is no game at all. Even if you have a lot of action in an FPS shooter, if there's no final goal, then the game is no good. If you start up the game and you just get dropped in a battlefield with no objective, no kind of backstory, nothing that can guide you, you're kind of screwed. You see an enemy, or it could be a teammate for all you know. Maybe you kill him, maybe you watch him, maybe he sees you too, and you both go up to each other and start teabagging the air. I don't know. That's no good. You don't want a game like that. Some studios now are coming out with games that don't even have a campaign, which is fine, but in that case, the objective of the game might be to unlock all the weapons and pimp out your character. TF2 is like that, and people freaking love that game. For other reasons too, but I think that's a key component. That's kind of the main meat of the game. All that stuff, that'll make your foundation. But obviously, that's not all that's in the game. You need some skin for your flesh and meat. Now onto the more technical stuff. The weapons, the maps, the game types. All that good stuff. Now, a long time ago, before I was a gamer, just a guy messing around, not really with a purpose, I thought all FPS games were the same. And a little backstory here to my life, I only play FPS games. I really couldn't give a shit about any other games. Maybe Minecraft. That's kind of cool. But, here, back to it. I thought all FPS games were the same. Call of Duty was fun because you got to kill shit. That was that. No more, no less. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, I don't care, just give me one. That was my gaming mindset. The quality of the game really had no effect on me, and I think a lot of people feel that same way. Not all of them for sure, but maybe half of all the COD players really couldn't give a shit as long as it's COD. I was a Halo guy. That was my only game. Halo 4. I thought it was great when I first got it. It gave me a good 6 months of happy, ignorant gameplay. I was bad, usually somewhere last or somewhere close, as it was my first FPS game. After 6 months, I had it down pretty well, getting firsted in about just every match, 2.5 KD, which is a lot tougher in Halo than any other game, just saying. It started getting old around then, and I turned to the Forge. You know, the Forge mode in Halo? Pretty limited, not great. And when I started with the Forge, then came mods and custom games. And after I ran out all the ideas for the very limited Forge mode, I turned to mods on YouTube. That was my first real YouTube experience. I loved it, and it kept me going for maybe another few months. But YouTube opened my eyes. I started watching videos on why Halo sucks. And then why other games suck. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I can totally relate to that. I started watching COD and Battlefield videos even though I didn't even have those games. And I still understood it. I knew what they were talking about. I figured out what a defensive playstyle was, how to balance it with maps and weapons, and why kill streaks are overpowered or underpowered. FPS weren't just replicas of each other anymore. They weren't all the same. I guess what I'm trying to say is the whole story is not all games are the same quality. And if you make that mistake of thinking that they are, then your game's going to be shit. You can't just put 20 weapons into a game, then zip together some random ass maps that seem sorta cool and expect the game to play well, because the balance is the biggest problem that the games face. That's gonna play like shit. How to make a weapon like a shotgun effective on maps where snipers are most suitable. How to make quick scoping possible but not easy. All these factors are part of the game. There's a reason why games always have updates and patches, and it's because it's not an easy thing to get right. I couldn't possibly talk about all the technical stuff because it would take me 4 hours and I don't even know, let alone understand half the problems developers and programmers face. But keep that in mind if you want to be a programmer or maybe make your own game one day. I would watch some COD and Battlefield analysis videos and follow some of the related links on the side and just see where that leads you. There are a lot of good commentators out there if you're into looking for them, but most of them are yet to be discovered. In the future, I'll be making a video on balance maps, which I think I have a fairly good grasp on, but I think it warrants its own video. Stay tuned for that. I have a Fiverr account where I give gaming counseling, and advice for programmers and developers. Check that out in the link below. You can also leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Until next time, see ya.